A meaningful life isn't built by accident. It's crafted with purpose, passion, and intentional choices. Too many people chase money, titles, and possessions only to feel empty when they get them. True fulfillment comes when your actions align with your values, when you live each day knowing why you're here and who you're here for. It's about purpose over comfort, relationships over things, growth over excuses, and impact over ego. You're not just here to survive, you're here to create, to serve, to inspire. This is your reminder: the life you dream of won't build itself. You have to build it. A meaningful life doesn't start with money, fame, or opportunities. It starts with knowing why you wake up every morning. Without a clear purpose, you can have all the talent in the world and still feel lost. You can be surrounded by success and still feel empty inside. Purpose is that deep fire inside your chest that pushes you forward even when the world feels like it's pushing you back. It's the reason you keep going after failure. It's the reason you stay disciplined when distractions are pulling you in every direction. And it's the reason you sacrifice comfort for growth. When you have a purpose, every decision begins to carry weight. You stop making choices based on short-term comfort, and you start making them based on long-term meaning. You wake up before the alarm because you know exactly what you're chasing. You stop wasting time on meaningless things because you realize your life has a mission. And when you know your mission, you can't afford to live like everybody else. You can't afford to sleep in when there's work to be done. You can't afford to keep procrastinating when your vision is waiting on you. Most people never take the time to define their purpose because it's not easy. It requires honest self-reflection. It requires asking yourself uncomfortable questions like, what do I really want from life? And if I died tomorrow, what would I regret not doing? It requires stripping away the noise of what everyone else wants for you and listening to that quiet voice inside that knows what you were made for. But the truth is, if you never define it, you'll spend your life reacting to circumstances instead of creating your own path. Purpose isn't just about a job or a career, it's about your impact. You can have a purpose as a teacher, a leader, a parent, an artist, or an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what the title is. What matters is that you know why you're doing it. If you're a teacher, maybe your purpose is to inspire the next generation to dream bigger. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe your purpose is to solve problems that change lives. If you're a parent, maybe your purpose is to raise strong, kind, and resilient children who will make the world better. When you find that thing that makes your heart beat faster, that thing you can't stop thinking about, you begin to live differently. You work harder, but it doesn't feel like work because you're connected to something bigger than yourself. You stop comparing yourself to other people because you're not chasing their race, you're running your own. You stop chasing instant gratification because you understand that real fulfillment takes time, patience, and persistence. Here's the truth: purpose will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you late nights. It will cost you weekends. It will cost you relationships with people who don't understand why you're so committed. But I'm giving you something far greater than what you give up. What you give up, it will give you direction. It will give you resilience. It will give you peace in knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you were meant to do. And here's the thing, your purpose isn't just for you. It's for the people who are waiting on you to show up. Someone out there is counting on your ideas, your gifts, your passion. Someone's life will be better because you decided to stop drifting and start living intentionally. That's why defining your purpose is not optional. It's essential because without it, you're just moving, but you're not going anywhere. But with it, every step you take is powerful, every day you live is intentional, and every obstacle becomes just another test you're built to overcome. Stop drifting. Life isn't a river you just float down, hoping it will take you somewhere good. If you don't steer, the current will take you to places you never wanted to be. Every single decision you make should move you closer to your vision. Every choice is either building you up or breaking you down. You can't afford to just hope things work out. You have to make them work out. You have to live with purpose in your steps, with strategy in your moves, with focus in your time. Living intentionally means you stop operating on autopilot. You stop waking up and letting the day happen to you. Instead, you take control before the sun even rises. You know what you're going after, and you make sure your actions match your ambitions. You can't say you want to be great, but then spend your time doing average things. You can't say you want freedom, but then waste your hours scrolling through distractions. The truth is, your vision demands alignment. Your behavior has to match your goals. When you live with intentional actions, you become aware that time is your most valuable currency. You realize that every minute spent is either an investment or a loss. That's why you stop entertaining things that don't serve you. You stop surrounding yourself with people who don't push you forward. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes to the right things. You understand that opportunity isn't about how much you can get. It's about how much of what you get actually moves you closer to where you're trying to go. It's not about being busy. It's about being productive. There's a big difference. Busy people run in circles. Intentional people run toward a target. Busy people fill their schedule with noise. Intentional people fill their schedule with purpose. If your calendar isn't lined up with your vision, you're not living with intention. You're just moving without progress. Living intentionally also means being disciplined in your habits. You can't rely on motivation alone because motivation fades. Discipline is what keeps you consistent when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're not in the mood. Discipline is what ensures your daily actions are building your future even when it's inconvenient. You start creating routines that reinforce your goals instead of routines that drain your potential. You learn how to say no without guilt because you know what you're saying yes to. And here's the thing, intentional living requires clarity. You have to know exactly what you want before you can take steps toward it. You can't shoot at a blurry target. Once you get that clarity, you start reverse engineering your days. You break your vision into smaller actions and you attack them one by one. You stop waiting for the right time and you realize that the right time is whenever you decide to start. Every intentional action compounds. One decision to wake up earlier leads to an extra hour of progress. One decision to cut out a bad habit creates space for a better one. One decision to focus instead of procrastinate can put you months ahead of the competition. The little things done consistently become the big results over time. But intentional actions aren't just about doing more. They're about doing the right things. You have to constantly check your moves against your mission. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now taking me closer to my goal, or is it pulling me away? If the answer is pulling you away, you cut it out. If the answer is taking you closer, you double down. When you start living this way, people will notice. They'll see you saying no to things you used to say yes to. They'll see you making sacrifices they're not willing to make. They'll see you operating on a different level. And while they're still drifting, you'll be moving with power, precision, and purpose toward the life you know you were built for. Success is hollow without people you love and respect by your side. You can stack up all the money, all the awards, all the possessions in the world, but if you don't have real connections, you'll still feel empty. People chase material things thinking they will fill a void, but the truth is the deepest fulfillment doesn't come from what you have. It comes from who you have. When life gets tough, it's not the car in your driveway or the size of your bank account that gives you strength. It's the people who show up for you when the world feels like it's falling apart. There's nothing wrong with wanting success, but the problem comes when you sacrifice relationships for it. Too many people climb to the top of the mountain only to realize they're standing there alone. They burned bridges along the way, they neglected the people who cared, and they replaced real moments with empty transactions. Then they look around and realize the victory feels cold because there's nobody there to celebrate with. Valuing relationships over things means you start recognizing that time is the most valuable gift you can give someone. No amount of money can buy back time missed with your family, friends, or loved ones. You can't rewind to watch your child's first game. You can't replay a conversation, someone who's gone. You can't redo the moments when you should have been present, but we're too busy chasing something temporary. True success is being able to build your dreams while keeping your relationship strong, because a win that costs you the people you care about isn't really a win. When you value relationships, you also learn how to invest in them intentionally. You don't just wait until you need someone to reach out. You nurture the connection consistently. You check in. You listen without rushing. You support them without keeping score. You celebrate their wins as much as you want them to celebrate yours. You understand that relationships are like gardens. If you don't water them, they dry out. If you don't tend to them, they get overtaken by weeds. And it's not just about having people around you. It's about having the right people around you. When you value relationships over things, you become intentional about the company you keep. You surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you to grow. People who hold you accountable when you start slipping, who remind you of your values when the world tempts you to compromise them. Those relationships become a source of strength that no material possession can replace. There's a certain richness that comes from having people you can trust with your dreams, your fears, and your flaws. When you have those kinds of relationships, you can face anything life throws your way. You know you're not walking through it alone. You know that even if you lose everything you've worked for, you still have something priceless. People who believe in you and love you for who you are, not for what you can give them. The truth is, relationships are part of your legacy. Years from now, people won't remember the shoes you wore, the house you lived in, or the brand of watch on your wrist. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember if you showed up when it mattered, if you listened when they needed to talk, if you stood by them when it would have been easier to walk away. That's the kind of success that lasts, because material things fade, but the impact you leave on people's lives will echo how long after you're gone. When you value relationships over things, you stop measuring success solely by numbers and start measuring it by moments. You realize that the greatest wealth is having people who would drop everything to be there for you, and knowing you do the same for them. The greatest fulfillment comes when your life impacts others in a positive way. You can spend years chasing personal achievement, building your career, and stacking up wins for yourself, but there comes a point where those victories stop feeling as satisfying. That's because the deepest sense of purpose doesn't come from what you do for yourself. It comes from what you do for others. When you use your gifts, your time, and your resources to make someone else's life better, you tap into a level of meaning that personal success alone can't provide. Serving beyond yourself means shifting your mindset from what can I get to what can I give? It's about recognizing that your life is bigger than your own comfort, your own goals, and your own needs. You weren't put here just to exist. You were put here to make a difference. That doesn't always mean changing the entire world. Sometimes it means changing someone's world. It might be through encouragement, mentorship, acts of kindness, or creating opportunities that someone else wouldn't have had without you. When you start living this way, you realize that your struggles and victories weren't just for you. The challenges you've overcome, the lessons you've learned, the skills you've developed, they're meant to be shared. Your story could be the thing that gives someone else the courage to keep going. Your help could be the lifeline they didn't know they needed. Your guidance could be the key that unlocks their potential. Serving others doesn't make you weaker. It makes you stronger. It sharpens your perspective. It keeps you grounded when your own ego tries to take over. It reminds you that no matter how far you go, you're still connected to the people around you. And the more you lift others, the more your own life expands in ways you couldn't imagine. This kind of service is not about recognition. It's not about being praised or getting credit. In fact, some of the most powerful ways you can serve will never be seen by the public. It's about the quiet moments. Being there for a friend who's breaking down, giving someone an opportunity when nobody else would, showing kindness to a stranger who can never repay you. Those are the moments that leave a permanent mark on people's lives. And the beauty is, serving beyond yourself doesn't mean you have to be rich, famous, or in a position of power. You can start right where you are with what you have. A kind word, a listening ear, a piece of advice, a small act of generosity. These things can change the course of someone's day or even their life. You don't have to wait until you make it to give back. Giving back is part of the process of making it. When you commit to serving beyond yourself, you begin to see that your life has a ripple effect. Every action, every word, every decision can influence someone else's journey. You might inspire someone you've never even met. You might plant a seed in someone's mind that grows into a dream they didn't know they could have. And often, those seeds you plant in others end up bearing fruit in your own life in ways you never expected. It's easy to get caught up in chasing personal success, but the truth is, the impact you leave on others will outlast any trophy, paycheck, or title. People will forget your accomplishments, but they won't forget how you made them feel, how you helped them, how you believed in them when nobody else did. That's why serving beyond yourself is not just an act of kindness. It's a way of building a legacy that will keep speaking long after you're gone. Your trials shape your depth, strength, and wisdom. Every obstacle you face, every setback you endure, every painful season you survive, it's all shaping you into the person you're meant to be. The truth is, growth rarely comes from comfort. It comes from the moments that test you, stretch you, and force you to confront parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Challenges aren't just roadblocks, they are training grounds. They are the classrooms where life teaches its most valuable lessons, and the tuition you pay is sweat, tears, and persistence. When everything is easy, you don't build muscle physically, mentally, or emotionally. Strength is forged under pressure. Just like weightlifting tears your muscles so they can rebuild stronger, life's challenges break you down in order to rebuild you into someone more resilient, more focused, more capable. You don't develop endurance by walking a smooth, flat path. You develop it by climbing steep hills and pushing forward when your legs burn. Every time you refuse to quit, you add another layer to your character. Growing through challenges means shifting your mindset from, why is this happening to me? To, what is this trying to teach me? The situation might not be your fault, but the way you respond to it is your responsibility. You can choose to see it as the end, or you can see it as a stepping stone. The people who grow the most aren't the ones who avoid pain, they're the ones who face it head on and extract wisdom from it. Pain has a way of revealing who you really are. When the pressure is on, your true character comes out. You discover your limits, but you also discover how far you can push past them. You find out which fears are real and which ones were just illusions in your mind. You learn how to adapt, how to think differently, how to create solutions when the obvious options disappear. The very struggle that feels like it's crushing you can be the thing that expands you if you let it. Challenges also teach you patience. In a world that wants instant gratification, trials force you to slow down and trust the process. They remind you that some things take time to develop, that some breakthroughs only come after long seasons of persistence. They teach you to appreciate the small wins along the way and to celebrate progress, even if you're not where you want to be yet. And when you overcome one challenge, you're better prepared for the next one. The skills you learn, the mental toughness you build, and the wisdom you gain become tools you carry into every future battle. You stop panicking when life hits you because you've been there before. You know you've survived worse. You know that the storm won't last forever, and that once it passes, you'll come out stronger. Sometimes the challenge isn't just about you. It's about the people who will be inspired by how you handle it. Someone is watching you, silently learning from the way you keep going when it would be easier to quit. Or your perseverance could be the reason they decide not to give up on their own journey. You become a living example that growth is possible even in the darkest seasons. Every scar you carry tells a story. Every wound you've healed from becomes proof of your resilience. You might not have chosen the challenge, but you can choose to grow from it. And when you do, you carry that strength into every area of your life. knowing that nothing you've gone through was wasted and everything you've endured was shaping you into who you are meant to be. What you give your time to will either build you or drain you. Choose wisely. Time is the one resource you can never get back, and energy is the fuel that determines how well you can use it. You can always make more money, you can always gain new opportunities, but once you spend an hour, it's gone forever. Once you let your energy be drained by the wrong people, wrong habits, or wrong environments, you can't just snap your fingers and get it back instantly. That's why protecting your time and energy is one of the most important disciplines you can develop. When you understand the value of your time, you stop giving it away carelessly. You start looking at your schedule and asking yourself, is this helping me grow? Is this moving me closer to my vision? Is this worth the hours of my life I'm trading for it? Because every yes you give to something meaningless is a no to something that matters. Every time you let distractions consume you, you rob yourself of the chance to invest in your purpose. Protecting your time also means being intentional with who gets access to it. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people will inspire you, push you, and challenge you to be better. Others will drain you, waste your energy, and pull you away from your goal. You have to know the difference and set boundaries without guilt. The wrong company can slow your progress more than any obstacle because they quietly drain your focus, your confidence, and your drive. Your energy is just as valuable as your time. If you're constantly mentally and emotionally drained, you won't have the capacity to do the work your vision requires. That's why you have to be careful about what you feed your mind and spirit. If you're surrounding yourself with negativity, drama, and distractions, you're burning energy that could be fueling your growth. Protecting your energy means cutting out toxic influences, limiting unnecessary conflict, and staying away from situations that leave you feeling empty. This discipline also applies to your daily habits. The way you start your day determines how much energy you have to give. If you waste your mornings scrolling endlessly or reacting to every notification, you're starting in a deficit. But if you begin your day with intention, focusing on priority, moving your body, feeding your mind, you're building a foundation that keeps you sharp and focused. Every habit is either preserving your energy or draining it, and over time, the difference becomes massive. Another key to protecting your time and energy is learning how to say no. A lot of people struggle with this because they want to be liked or they're afraid of missing out. But every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to the things that do. Saying no isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's how you make sure your life stays on track instead of being pulled in at 100 different directions. When you start protecting your time and energy, you'll notice your productivity increase. You'll be able to focus longer, make better decisions, and take consistent action toward your goals. You'll stop feeling burnt out, not because life gets easier, but because you've eliminated the things that drain you for no reason. You'll start operating with clarity because your mental space isn't cluttered with unnecessary noise. The truth is, time and energy management is really life management. If you don't control them, something or someone else will. Every day, you have a limited amount of both. You can either spend them on things that build your future or waste them on things that lead nowhere. The choice you make consistently will determine the quality of your life, the speed of your progress, and the strength of your legacy